Your Honor, there is only one factual piece presented by the prosecution in this case, and that fact is that my client was at the victim's house at 9 a.m. when the crime happened. What the prosecution left out is that the broken glass found at the crime scene was not from a broken vase thrown by the defendant at Miss Laley, but leftover shards from a broken window that a window repair service forgot to clean up from a few months earlier.
Your Honor, we contacted the service that fixed the broken window. They put us in touch with the two men who did the repairs, and they swore there was nothing missed during the replacements or cleanup.
Your Honor, I motion to have the repair crew's words omitted from evidence, due to outdated information. The repair crew later admitted to being drunk during the crime and while they were being hassled by the prosecution. Therefore, the earlier confession is invalid.
Your motion is granted. The confessions of the repairmen are omitted from evidence.
Your Honor, there is also an eyewitness who can testify against the defendant and is waiting outside of this courtroom.
If I may interrupt, Your Honor, the eyewitness failed the polygraph test, and therefore can't be relied on for giving an honest testimony.
Objection. The eyewitness took the polygraph again and passed. There should be no reason why they can't be allowed to testify.
Objection sustained. The polygraph test can't determine an eyewitness' ability to give an honest statement.
The truth behind what occurred at Miss Laley's house at 9 a.m. can be determined by the security camera footage. Her front yard security camera is running from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. and her security cameras inside her house run 24/7. In the front yard security cameras at precisely 10:12 a.m. you can see a car pulling out of her driveway. An hour before that at 9:12 a.m. you can see the real suspect wearing a white hoodie attacking Miss Laley with a knife, and not a vase.
Your Honor, a broken vase was found at the crime scene, but it was wrongfully removed from evidence by the defense attorney because it contradicted his case. I request to have the defendant assigned the more competent lawyer and have the current defense attorney relieved of duty for obstruction of justice.
Objection, hearsay and prejudice.
Objection sustained. Mr. Jensen, whatever problem you have with the defense attorney, please settle it outside of the courtroom, and refrain from spreading slander. Mr. Fields, continue.
The prosecution doesn't have substantial evidence required to prosecute the defendant, and is resorting to wrongly accusing me of obstruction of justice. Your Honor, I move to have any words that the prosecution has ever said purporting to the truth of this case without any evidence provided to corroborate them since this trial has started stricken from the case.
Your motion to have the prosecutor's uncorroborated statements removed from the case is granted.
The suspect was spotted entering the scene at 9:12 a.m. and leaving the scene 1 hour later wearing the exact same white hoodie Mr. Kane was wearing that morning. Your Honor, I request that a search warrant is placed on the next-door neighbor's security cameras.
Your motion to search through the neighbor's security cameras is denied.
Objection. There is no probable cause.
Objection sustained.
Your Honor, there is clear and factual evidence debunking the defense's theory. The DNA from the crime scene, the interrogation with the coroner, and text messages where the defendant explicitly states that he was contemplating first-degree murder just days before the crime happened directly support our story of how events took place that morning.
I motion to have the coroner cross-examined.
Your motion is granted. The bailiff will escort in the coroner.
Mr. Bailey, what did you observe when you examined the body?
There were lacerations on the buttocks and the stomach caused by a kitchen knife.
When you examined the kitchen knives, which one did you suspect was the murder weapon?
There was a Volo brand kitchen knife with blood stains on it.
Mr. Bailey, whose DNA was on the handle of the Volo brand kitchen knife?
After careful and thorough examination, I determined that it was indeed Mr. Kane's DNA on the handle of the knife.
Whose blood was on the blade of the Volo brand kitchen knife?
I determined that it was the defendant's blood on the knife, sir.
Mr. Bailey, are you aware that while preparing breakfast, Mr. Kane slit his finger, spilling his blood onto the Volo brand kitchen knife?
No, I wasn't previously aware of that.
Mr. Bailey, are you aware that there were other people in the house at the same time?
Yes, I am aware of that, sir.
Then are you aware that Miss Laley occupied the house alongside her aunt, brother and sister, 52, 27, and 29 respectively, at the time of the murder?
Yes, I was made cognizant of that multiple times before, during, and after the autopsy.
Are you aware that Miss Laley's brother, Mr. Samuel Laley, was a fond collector of Volo knives? Specifically Volo Premium Limited knives?
I'm aware of that, sir.
I suppose you're aware that there was a second bloodied Vola PLK found at the scene?
I was actively made aware of the second bloody knife.
Therefore you have proven yourself to be an unreliable coroner.
Objection. Relevance.
Overturned. The coroner lied out at his own volition before the court.
Your Honor, the verdict should be clear. Mr. Kane clearly did not commit this murder.
Mr. Fields and Mr. Jensen, you both lack the substantial evidence needed to prove your cases. Until the defense and prosecution gather more evidence, the trial is adjourned.
Unfortunately, Mr. Kane, the judge dismissed the evidence both and the prosecuting counsel have.
Just hypothetically, what if I told you I was withholding evidence that could incriminate me? Hypothetically?
Taking into account your previous larceny and battery crimes, you would probably get a life sentence in prison for murder and obstruction of justice. Why do you ask me this? Are you hiding something?
I may or may not have burned the document that could be used to incriminate me.
You need to turn yourself in and turn in any documents or evidence you have withheld.
Here's the problem, right? I burned the document that could incriminate me. Poof. It's gone and nobody will find it.
Mr. Kane, as your lawyer I advise being fully honest with the court so you can reduce your sentence or possibly get a plea deal.
What if I divulged information in exchange for you keeping this a secret?
Mr. Kane, there is no information you could possibly give me that would make me keep this a secret.
I have discovered information on the deep web about a corrupt policeman who ordered a sting-op. You covered this case a while back, and I know the truth.
And what is the truth, Mr. Kane?
The policeman lied in the incident report, and he doesn't want people to know because he did this job with the mob.
The policeman in question was a reliable narrator. You are not, however.
You can compare the incident report to the bank cards, and you'll see how things don't line up.
You can sleep well in prison knowing I am going to cross-check the incident reports with security detail.
You can't turn me in. I'm not ready for prison.
You should have thought of that when withholding and destroying critical evidence. Do you have backup copies of the evidence you hid?
Someone else took the documents off my hands saying they needed it for something.
Who did you give these documents to? What are they using it for?
Thank you for pulling the files from Kane.
No problem, I'm just doing my thing.
Kane is out of the picture, and I'm hiring new employees at Koala Cola.
Putting money into that cola brand was a bad business decision.
Koala Cola is a business I grew from the ground up after I bought it off the grungy CEO.
Either way, you're putting one foot forward into an unreliable idea.
The embezzling is keeping the vision of our revenge against Casey Fields alive.
We don't need you in our vision, Mrs. Sasha.
You want me to sue? You two were best friends and my mortal enemies.
I turned over New Leaf and ditched the Vengeful Seven after Vance started moving us into the new office. I'm here to file a complaint against him. He's buried a lot of evidence, but I dug it all up.
I know what that's like.
You ever worked for him?
Nope.
Anyway, I want to file a lawsuit because he's overworking us.
Only for that? No murder charge? No nothing? Just for overworking?
As far as you're concerned, it's the only thing I have proof for.
Send me the files, and I'll see what I can do.
The problem is, Jerry takes hands-on approach when dealing with traitors. He'll try and send someone to kill you and me both.
He can't kill me. I have contacts in the business he runs in.
You work with hired killers?
Let's call them exterminators and people licensed to revoke people of their freedom to breathe.
There's a secret going around in the Vengeful Seven. When you don't like your lawyers, find new ones.
You're suing me?
Objection, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Fields, is a trustworthy lawyer and a tax-paying contributor to society.
Sustained. Please give your closing statements.
Omar was a man, Your Honor. Like every man and woman, he isn't a perfect person. So why punish him when you can punish Fields instead, who is arguably worse in every way?
Your Honor, El Rey was and still is a blatantly scummy lawyer.
Your Honor, I find the defendant's counsel to be extremely convincing. Therefore, I'm dumping the plaintiffs, Jerry, Omar, and Vance, in favor of helping the defense's case.
I agree with your points and find the defense counsel's case to be extremely convincing. Actually, I'm dropping all charges against Mr. Fields on your behalf. In fact, in the case of Jerry, Omar and Vance versus Fields, I demand that Mr. Casey Fields is paid a sum of $3,000, $1,000 from each plaintiff to be exact.
We Never cooperated with Vance just to escape imprisonment.
You shouldn't be saying that in the public. He could be watching.
Vance is a bitch, and he can watch us shit on his empire and send killers after me to put a fucking bullet in my forehead.
I think you're mistaken, Jerry. I'm rooting for Vance's cause, but I just don't like how he sets out to do it. You both are obstacles, and if I get rid of you, nobody stands in my way. What's making you laugh?
There'll be so much intense backlash and outcry against you. Let me remind you I am a popular political figure.
Let me straighten things out for you. I don't care. He's taken care of. I did everything you asked me to, but I still don't understand why we're here.
Omar, Vance, and Jerry are still out there.
This is Honest Maria, filming live from Green Screen News Recording Studio, where we have just received word that the infamous politician Big Bad Jerry was just shot dead by a strange man driving away from the scene of the crime. Police have identified the suspect as Omar Hilligan, and warn all citizens to stay away.
It seems like your only problems now are Omar, Vance, and my case. However, I have decided to turn over all copies of any incriminating documents. Regardless of the outcome, I have chosen honesty and a dignified exit.
You might not know this, but I'm proud of you, Mr. Kane. I'll try and negotiate a plea deal, but I can't make any promises until we discuss motives.
So let's get started, shall we?
Your Honor, I posit you a question. Why would a responsible, rational, and self-disciplined man murder Miss Laley out of irrationality, out of a lack of self-control, out of refusal to take responsibility for his faults? This man was clearly married to a manipulator. Condolences to Miss Laley's family and all. I'm sure they're great people, but his wife was a manipulative person. He wrote in his journal, and I quote, "My messy life, I want to die. My bossy wife, she makes me cry." So, Your Honor, make a decision. Punish a guilty man who has already punished himself, or get the right people responsible, his manipulative wife, his bossy sister-in-law, and his banker, Fredman and Chop LLC.
You're right. In the case of the State v. Kane, I find Kane guilty, but because you pleaded him insane, and because he was honest, reliable, and dignified in his confession, I waive him of all punishment.
There's some good news. Your charges have been waived because you allowed me to plead that you were insane.
What is the bad news?
There's still Omar and Vance to worry about. They're becoming a lot of trouble for me.
We'll take care of them. We'll take care of them soon enough.
Anyway, there's some more good news. We got you an apprenticeship deal and you'll be working with one of my friends.
They better be worth my time.
You'll meet them soon enough and you can make the inference about that yourself. We have a case to assemble right now, so we'd best work.
You were expecting me to pop up somewhere, so here I am to explain things. Whenever I slip in with the rainbow behind me, whether that's in my own stories or the stories led by Pinnacone here, I'm here to catch you up and fill you in on important plot bits. Anyway, that's all from me. Enjoy the show.